Hey guys, thought I'd make a video to go over the optimal setup and strat to clear this level 100 Amakna quest on turn 2 every single time. I got some Reddit DMs on the original post and video pointing out some inconsistencies, so that's why I'm making this. So let's get into the setup and then I'll just do a couple of demos and go over some alternate strats. So the main setup relies on two things: a soul armband, which will generate gauge when you attack. You can use any element, but I'm using air. Don't worry about the rune upgrades, doesn't matter. And then the Hoo ring, which is a 12 decker ring, means you have to have at least 12 spells to trigger it, and it gives you typically one ether at the start of the fight. There's a rune upgrade that gives you an additional one. That one is mandatory, so go ahead and rune that up if you want to use this strat. For the companions, we're running all four peewees. And for the spells, we're running the other elements that aren't covered by your armband and only the 2 gauge generating spells. So in stats, we're running health so we don't die on turn 1. You need around 800 to 900 health for that to not happen. So after the first like 7 or 8 levels, you'll have enough from just getting this 50% upgrade. But early on, if you're still having issues, you can throw on some health rings such as the steel ring, which gives you 20% max health at the start of the fight, and the iron ring, which gives you 20% of your max health as armor on a hero. You can also run the bash ring if you want, which gives you some additional armor. It's all just effective HP to make sure you don't get one shot before you actually win the fight. So now that we've gone over the setup, let's get into a demo. So it's a very simple process. Let's go over it step by step. Turn 1, you always want to attack the companion to generate 1 gauge off the armband and move her straight down out of harm's way, and then cast a 2 gauge generating spell on this fat tofu. It can be this one or this one too, since they don't take off one hit, but I just picked this one because it's easy to just hit the same one every single time. So then you wait for the tofus to either surround you or take this positioning where they don't completely surround you, and that's why you're running that hoo ring and the arm and gauge armband to make sure we can summon 4 tofus. So now, if you pay attention to our gauges, we need to use a different element and generate either 2 earth or 2 water to summon a 4th companion. So let's just go ahead and do that. On turn 2, always cast on one of these tofus. I will take off 1 hit. And then go ahead and attack this one, so all the surrounding tofus take off, and now we can summon 4. So let's summon 1, have it attack this one to have it take off, and it will make all the nests vulnerable. And now you can use this companion and your other 3 tofus to go ahead and take them out. Simple, easy peasy, and pretty much once this goes gray, you can just go ahead and leave the fight and still get the rewards. But we'll just sit it out this time. So once you've done this a few times, it should take you anywhere between 28 to like 38 seconds every single time. Now, going over one alternate setup, if you don't have the spare runes or don't have this ring or just don't feel like ruining it up because it's kind of niche, you could use the Darkling ring. So the Darkling ring is an affinity ring that says if you use a earth spell and an air spell consecutively, in whichever order, it will trigger a hurricane around you, and if you hit 3 enemies with it, you get 2 ether gauges. So that's a way around, having to use that hoo ring with the rune upgrade. Since this ring doesn't give health, you're definitely going to want some survivability from these other rings. And for the spells, we'll go down to 9 deck for consistency. Run the earth and air spells to give 2 gauges, and then just another one just to hit the minimum requirement. And then pick a soul armband that's not air or earth. And we're good to go. So this one looks, more or less the same. Turn 1, you hit the companion and send her down. And then cast either air earth spell on this tofu. and end your turn. What that does is prime your next air spell to trigger that hurricane, get you that 2 ether. So this time they took the variant positioning again, which is just fine. We're going to cast an air spell on this guy right here and make him take off. Okay, got the 2 ether, then attack this guy, make these guys take off, and then just like last time, we can go ahead and use a Peewee to make them all vulnerable, summon the rest, and use the companion to break the other ones, and we're good to leave because the fight has been won. And lastly, I know in the original video I showed it being done at level 1, and that can be a little hard to do when you're new and don't have things ruined up. So to be more consistent, first of all, if you're new, I probably wouldn't suggest doing this anyway because it kind of spoils the journey. But if you're new and you at least have some of these rings, you can still do it at level 1, or if you're just leveling at all, you can still do it at level 1. To do that, we're going to opt for a 15 deck setup, and we are going to rely on this cutting ring to give us an extra 30% health at the start of the fight. And then for the other ones, we are going to go ahead and use the same other survivability setups with the steel ring and the iron ring, and we of course need our hoo-hoo ring for this. And then same thing, let's just throw on a soul armband. And we're going to go ahead and pick up all the 2 gauge generating spells. The reason I'm not grabbing the fire one is because I just don't want the possibility of drawing, like, of being stuck with all 5 fire spells in my hand. So we're gonna only take three air ones because we have the lightning soul armband, and we want to minimize situations where we can't get another element out or element generated. So there we go. And then of course the companions. All right. And then for good measure, let's just grab this 5% health upgrade. Now we can go ahead and run this to level 1. So we only have 780 health. This is typically not enough, but because of the iron ring, it'll give us some more effective HP, which is enough to survive. And from here on out, it's really just the same strat. You hit the companion, send her down, and then do the same thing. Generate an element, pass your turn, and generate a different element that's not air or earth, or the one you generated last time on the next turn. And then we can just go ahead and queue up these attacks because we know that they're going to be vulnerable, and the fight is won. Just a note though, for the first like 20-ish levels, your EXP is going to be capped, I guess, to prevent people from getting power leveled all the way to 30 in a matter of minutes. But I mean, this is still going to get you to 30 in a matter of minutes. So while the first time you'll only get enough EXP to get to level 5, the second time it'll get you to level 12, and then 17, and into the 20s, and then you'll be 30 well before you've spent 10 minutes on this if you do it fast enough. But yeah, there you have it. So EXP is capped at 12,000, but after pretty much as you level up, you'll get more and more XP until you get the maximum amount. And that is the strat from doing it at a higher level with an alternate setup, and from doing it since level 1 if you have the equipment ready. Hope you guys enjoyed, and feel free to ask questions on Reddit or on YouTube.